Happy New Year, travel family, and I mean that in the most literal way possible, because we are officially staring straight into 2026. And if you think travel rules change slowly, let me stop you right there. The ground has shifted again, and a lot of people have no idea what's coming. Welcome back to the galley. Settle in, maybe grab a snack, ideally one that won't get confiscated at security, because today is a full code red briefing. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm Mila. I've been a flight attendant for 15 years. I've logged millions of miles, served more meals than I can count, and spent countless hours standing at the boarding door watching excitement turn into heartbreak in a matter of seconds. I've seen families, honeymooners, and retirees turned away, not because they were late or rude, but because they were holding a passport they believed was valid, a little blue book that under the rules of 2026 had quietly become useless. There is nothing worse than packing, locking the house, saying goodbye to the dog, getting to the airport, and hearing an agent say, "I'm sorry, you can't fly today." The tears, the shock, the money lost, it sticks with you. And starting January 1st, 2026, the odds of this happening are higher than ever because of major regulatory changes rolling out across Europe, the UK, and even the United States. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the new passport rules for 2026. We're talking about the ETS travel authorization that is finally live, biometric entry systems replacing stamps, the 6-month versus 3-month expiration trap that catches smart travelers every day, and the new zero-tolerance approach to damaged passports. If you have a trip planned this year, or even if you're just dreaming about one, stay with me until the end. Better yet, go grab your passport right now and hold it in your hand. We're going to audit it together, starting with the biggest and most misunderstood change that has been looming for years and is now unavoidable in 2026. That change is the ETS, and for many travelers it feels like a visa, even though officials insist it isn't. For decades, Americans enjoyed true visa-free travel to most of Europe. You bought a ticket, landed in Paris or Rome, got a stamp, and went on your way. That era is over. Starting in 2026, you now need electronic travel authorization before you ever leave home. ETS is a pre-screening system that must be completed online before you arrive at the airport. You enter your passport information, list your travel plans, answer security questions, and pay a small fee, currently about €7. Here's where things go wrong. People assume they can do it last minute. They think they'll just open their phone at the check-in counter and fill it out while waiting in line. Do not do that. While most approvals come back in minutes, some are delayed for manual review, and those reviews can take up to 96 hours, 4 full days. If your application is flagged for a name match, a typo, or an inconsistency, and you show up without approved ETS linked to your passport, the airline system will physically block your boarding pass from printing. I can't override it. A supervisor can't override it. Even the captain can't override it. You simply are not going anywhere. And here's the darker side of ETS in 2026 that no one talks about enough: scams. If you search for ETS application online, the top results are often paid ads from third-party websites. They look official. They use EU colors and flags. They charge $80, $90, sometimes over $100 to submit a form that officially costs less than $10. Some don't submit anything at all. They just collect your passport data and credit card information. You must use the official europa.eu website. No agencies, no helpers. Do it yourself, do it early, and print the confirmation. Now let's talk about what happens after you land, because Europe is also rolling out a completely new entry-exit system. In 2026, the familiar sound of passport stamps is disappearing. I know it's sad, those stamps told stories, but now borders are digital. When you arrive in places like Frankfurt, Paris, or Amsterdam, you may not see a human officer first. You'll approach a kiosk. You'll scan your passport. The system will take a high-resolution photo of your face and scan multiple fingerprints. This biometric data is stored for up to 3 years and tracks exactly when you enter and exit. This matters for 2 big reasons. First, facial recognition accuracy. If your passport photo is old and your appearance has changed significantly through weight loss, surgery, aging, or gender presentation, the gate may reject you. That sends you into manual processing. In 2026, with staffing shortages, that line can be 3 or 4 hours long. If you have a connection, you will miss it. If you no longer resemble your photo, renew your passport early. Second, overstays. In the past, officers counted stamps and sometimes made mistakes. Computers don't. Stay 91 days instead of 90 and you're flagged. Fines, bans, and long-term travel problems can follow. The system does not forget. Count your days carefully. That brings us to the issue that causes more tears at the check-in counter than almost anything else: the expiration date math. This rule isn't new, but in 2026, airlines are facing heavy fines for transporting passengers with invalid documents, which means our systems are now set to zero tolerance. You look at your passport and see an expiration date months away and assume you're safe. That assumption gets people stranded every single day. There are two rules you must understand: the 6-month rule and the 3-month rule. Many countries in Asia and other regions require your passport to be valid for 6 months beyond your date of entry. If you arrive on March 1st, your passport must be valid until September 1st. If it expires in July, you will be denied boarding before you ever leave home. Europe operates differently. In the Schengen area, your passport must be valid for 3 months beyond your planned date of departure. That sounds easier, but it still trips people up constantly. If you plan to leave Italy on April 1st, your passport must be valid until July 1st. Miss that by even a few days and the system will stop you cold. I watched a family last month heading to Bali. The father's passport expired 5 months and 3 weeks after their return date. He was short by 1 week. 1 week. The computer wouldn't let him check in. His wife and children flew without him, and he spent thousands of dollars getting an emergency passport and rebooking 2 days later. Do the math yourself. Look at your return flight, then look at your expiration date. If you don't have at least 6 months of buffer, renew it now. Don't gamble. Now we need to talk about something that's becoming a major issue in 2026: passport condition. Passports are delicate, and most people treat them terribly. They get bent, soaked, stuffed into bags, and forgotten in coat pockets. Border authorities are cracking down hard on damage that used to be ignored. Water damage is at the top of the list. Pages that are wrinkled or wavy, even if readable, can get you denied. Small tears on the cover or corners are another red flag. The biggest issue I see is peeling laminate. If the plastic layer on your photo page is lifting, even slightly, it is treated as tampering. Officers assume the photo could be altered. Then there's the RFID chip. It's embedded in the back cover of US passports. If your passport is bent, the chip antenna can break. If the e-gate can't read it and the document looks rough, you may be refused entry. At the gate, if I see a passport that looks like it's been through a war, I have to escalate it. Airlines don't want to fly you overseas only to have foreign authorities send you right back and fine us heavily. If your passport looks worn out, replace it. Treat it like a valuable document, not an old notebook. If this is making you nervous, that's not a bad thing. Better nervous now than stranded later. And if you've ever felt that surge of panic when you can't immediately find your passport, trust me, you're not alone. That panic is something I see every week, especially when children are involved, because families often overlook one critical detail: the 5-year passport rule. Adult passports are valid for 10 years, but children's passports are only valid for 5. Parents assume everything was issued at the same time and never think to double check. Then they arrive at the airport and discover their child's passport expired months or even years ago. I once watched a mother break down at the counter after realizing her 14-year-old's passport had expired the previous month. She genuinely believed it was a 10-year document. Children's faces change quickly, which is why the validity is shorter. In 2026, no exceptions are being made. Check your children's passports right now. And while we're talking about kids, let's address consent rules, because they are tightening worldwide to prevent child abduction. If you are traveling alone with a minor, or if you and your child have different last names, expect questions. Countries like Mexico and Canada are especially strict. You should carry a notarized consent letter from the non-traveling parent, along with a copy of the child's birth certificate. I have seen single parents delayed or detained simply because an officer wasn't convinced the other parent knew the child was leaving the country. It is stressful, frightening, and completely avoidable if you bring the paperwork. Over-prepare. Now let's talk to my dual citizens, because this causes confusion every single day. If you hold 2 passports, you must follow the one-in, one-out rule, with an important US twist. United States law requires U.S. citizens to enter and exit the country using a valid U.S. passport. I see people try to check in for flights to the U.S. using their foreign passport because the line is shorter or their U.S. passport is expired. The airline system flags it immediately. If you are a U.S. citizen, you cannot enter the country on a foreign passport and a birth certificate. Both passports must be valid. Use your U.S. passport for the U.S. portion of travel and your other passport where appropriate. Now let's talk timelines, because 2026 processing times are improving, but still dangerous if you procrastinate. Standard passport processing is averaging 6 to 8 weeks. Expedited service is around 2 to 3 weeks. However, demand is rising again because we're hitting a massive renewal wave. 10 years ago, millions of people applied for passports when new rules required them for travel to Mexico and Canada. Those passports are expiring now. That means millions of renewals happening at once. Do not wait until 2 months before your trip. Renew 6 months in advance if you can. Be careful with private expediting services. Some are legitimate, but they charge hundreds of dollars. The State Department's online renewal pilot program is improving and can save time, but you must follow the instructions perfectly. A single mistake can push your application into review and cost you weeks. And that brings us to passport photos, which are getting rejected more than ever in 2026. The AI reviewing photos is ruthless. No glasses, no filters, no creative lighting. The background must be white, not off-white, not gray. Shadows are the #1 rejection reason. If there's a shadow behind your head or under your chin, the photo fails. My advice is simple. Go to a professional. The small cost is worth avoiding a month-long delay that could derail your entire trip. Those delays matter even more when you realize how many additional rules stack on top of each other in 2026, starting with domestic travel inside the United States. Real ID enforcement is no longer theoretical. If you are flying domestically to reach your international gateway, you must have a Real ID compliant driver's license or use your passport to pass through TSA. Many people without Real ID end up pulling out their passport at small domestic airports, using it multiple times before the international leg even begins. That extra handling increases wear, tear, and the chance of losing it at a bar, security bin, or seat pocket. My advice is simple. Get a Real ID license so your passport stays safely tucked away until you truly need it. Now let's talk about something old but still dangerous: blank pages. Some countries require 2 consecutive completely blank pages for visas and entry stamps. U.S. passports no longer allow extra pages to be added. If your passport is full of stamps, even with years of validity left, you may still be denied boarding. Flip through your book carefully. If you are down to your last 2 pages, it is time to renew. Do not assume border officers will make exceptions. They won't. This leads directly into one of the most common myths I hear: the emergency passport fantasy. People say they'll just get one at the airport if something goes wrong. That is not how it works. Emergency passport appointments are extremely limited and only available at regional agencies. You must show proof of international travel within 14 days, and securing an appointment can feel impossible. It requires logging on early in the morning and hoping for availability. It is a last resort, not a backup plan. Now let's touch on digital IDs and the future, because this topic creates confusion. Some airports are piloting digital passports on phones in 2026. These are conveniences, not replacements. You still need the physical book. Phones die, systems go down, foreign officers still ask for paper. Never travel internationally without your physical passport in your possession. So let's turn all of this into a simple mental checklist. Check the expiration date against your return flight. Check the condition for damage. Check for blank pages. Check children's passports and consent documents. Apply for ETS early if traveling to Europe. Secure everything before you leave home. Travel should be freedom and joy, not panic at a counter. Being prepared is the difference. That preparation is what turns you from a stressed passenger into a confident traveler. And that's ultimately what I want for you in 2026. I want you walking through the airport knowing your documents are solid, your approvals are done, and nothing at the counter can surprise you. I want you to step up to that e-gate, scan your passport, let the camera read your face, and walk straight into a new city without a second thought. Travel should feel exciting, not fragile. It should feel like possibility, not paperwork anxiety. That's why tonight, not tomorrow, not next week, you should go find your passport. Take it out of the drawer, blow the dust off it, open it. Check the expiration date carefully. Count forward 6 full months from your return flight, not your departure. Look at the pages. Are there at least 2 clean blank pages left? Examine the photo page. Is the laminate smooth and sealed? Are the pages flat and dry? If anything looks questionable, don't debate it. Replace it. The cost of renewal is nothing compared to the cost of a canceled trip, lost hotel bookings, and flights you can't get refunded. If you're traveling with children, pull out their passports too. Remember the 5-year rule. Check the dates. If you're traveling alone with a child or have a different last name, prepare the consent letter and bring the birth certificate copy. If you're heading to Europe, apply for ETS at least 2 weeks early on the official site and print the confirmation. If you're a dual citizen, confirm both passports are valid and plan which one you'll use for each leg. This isn't about fear, it's about control. The smartest travelers aren't lucky, they're prepared. If you found this helpful and maybe a little eye-opening, consider subscribing so you don't miss what's coming next. I'll be breaking down the new liquid rules and scanner changes soon. And yes, they are getting weird again. Drop your questions in the comments if you're unsure about a specific country or rule. I can't answer everything, but I'll point you in the right direction. Thank you for spending this time with me. Stay prepared, travel smart, and I'll see you out there, moving through the world with confidence instead of confusion.